Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Travelin' Tom's Coffee Truck, the delicious mobile coffee truck that brings you the caffeination inspiration you need. We deliver signature coffee products like our Nitro Cold Brew and Caramel Frappe to any occasion or festivity. And for those who don't like coffee, we offer a variety of delicious hot chocolates, energy drinks, lemonades, and teas. That's Travelin' Tom's Coffee Truck. Welcome back to another edition of the Goblay Show. I'm your host, Billy Goble, and today I have a special guest. She is a great friend of mine, and we worked together many, many moons ago. I don't want to say too many moons, but it was it's been, 25 years maybe?
Since we worked together?
Yeah, when we first started.
I mean, yeah.
It was 2000, yes. It's 2025.
Oh my
All right.
gosh, I don't teach math.
Welcome to the Goblay Show.
Thank you.
How you doing?
So excited to be here. So good to see you. Sometimes when we touch, I say that to my kids too. And they're like, that's weird. I'm like, the honesty is too
It's a top 40 hit 20 years ago. I mean,
41
40
years.
Something years ago. So I asked you about your favorite restaurant to work in.
To work in?
Yeah, I know you did. You said Crystal Palace a minute ago.
I was okay. This would take so long, but Crystal Palace has got my favorite memory because I got to spend time and eat quality dinner time with Michael Jackson.
Oh, that's cool.
So that one's a cool story. So I like that. But my favorite restaurant to portray a role, I loved being in the castle.
Yeah.
I have so many funny memories in there.
Very cozy in there.
Yeah.
Yep. With the whole bell. Bong, 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 bong. Lords and ladies of the castle.
That wasn't there when I started.
Oh my gosh. I loved so much they started letting me do it.
CRT was totally different when I started.
Oh yeah.
And it was King Stefan's when I started.
Oh, that's right.
So that was my favorite one to work. I did have a great time at Chef Mickey's, but I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Favorite park, Magic Kingdom. Favorite parade was probably Mickey Mania. I loved the Christmas parade.
Yeah.
Loved doing the Christmas parade. But 25th is it has a special thing to me. But when we started bringing out snow globes and stuff, I was like, what are we doing? What's happening?
That was the 100 Years of Magic.
I don't know. These balls running down the street. I was like, what is happening right now?
The best part
And they didn't even have water in them.
No.
And every kid wants to see a snow globe.
Yeah, well.
Esque.
Outro. Something like that. But they would have...
What is the phrase of that? I want to see it snow globe? Like, I want to see it snow.
I want to get my globe on.
I want to shake it.
Shake and not stir.
Right.
They had the fans on, though, that would blow the stuff up.
They didn't blow anything. They were always broken. It was supposed to blow air for the performers. You would be in there and you're like, I'm literally dying.
Y'all know what sunlight does to glass?
Exactly. Think of this concept. Ooh, I have an idea. Let's put a big glass globe on top of a moving vehicle that produces heat. Let's stick some people in there and put them in 104 degrees in Florida sun. It's going to look amazing. Your face just melted off. You were like, when you was just... What's that? That's me wiping my makeup off my lip.
Looks like you just opened the Ark of the Covenant.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there was airflow, but...
It was...
and I did love Spectro Magic. Oh, I loved On This...
I love that. I did love...
Actually, I loved ELP better.
I did DEP. I get to drive DEP.
That's ELP?
But, yeah, it's when it came back. It's Disney's Electrical Parade.
Right. Sorry.
I got to drive... But when I got driver trained, I got to drive the... It was a Spectro float. It was the clown, the Spectro clowns, the little glow, the pods.
Spectro Men.
I call them the Lady Gaga ball because it was looked like something from her music video.
They were so scary.
They were. But it was like a spaceship. It's like,
in that one
cool.
I did. I was puppeteer before they went actual animatronics. Mm-hmm. So you had like these bicycle handles and the whole parade. If anyone ever videotaped the inside of a vehicle driving, first of all, half of us had to have like our shirt. Like it was so hot in those things. You couldn't hear anything because all you heard was the music. And And then, now 25 years later, I'm like, what? I can't hear you. I'm like, I don't know why I'm deaf, because I had this, but you held this bicycle thing and you just had to shake it to make Sebastian move because he was always broken, and you had this like handle. So if you videotaped, I look like a spaz. I'm just like moving up and down to like people like, and then one day, my first time driving parade, the float broke down. It just stopped and I'm inside, and Bruce Wolf, God love him, already knew that I was nervous. Comes over the float with the flashlight. Are you all right? Me. Turn the light on, open the door. No, I'm not all right. He's like, Tracey, close the door. Tracey, turn the light off. I'm like, I'm not all right, Bruce.
Put your travel lights on.
Put your travel lights on. Put your button your shirt all the way.
You're like Ace Ventura and the Rhino.
Yes.
You're like kind of hot in these rhinos.
Oh my God, so hot. Such great memories. God, I love that life. It feels like a million years ago now.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, I spent half my life there. I had the first half of my life, and then I went over there and spent the other half, and I'm like, I didn't know anything, any other way.
And we grew up together.
Yeah.
We literally, when other people were doing college and doing fraternities and sororities, and we all started our adult lives together. Mm-hmm. And we didn't, and there were the few people that came and went for a year or so, and we don't even know their names now. But those lifers, those people that, like, they made such an impact on life for us that, it's like, wow. People are like, where'd you grow up? Texas and then Disney.
Yeah. Yeah, doesn't get any better than that,
right?
Though.
I mean, think of all the people, the boyfriends and girlfriends and heartbreaks and everything we all went through, so thankful for all that time.
Well, I think that that just makes you who you are, because you've seen not just yourself, but you've seen other people go through things. And, and somebody was dating for like 5 years and they break it off, and it's like being in a real life soap opera. You know what I mean?
I know. It was so funny. Not funny, haha, I guess. When so for those of you that don't know, I was with someone for 6 years. I was engaged to marry him, and oops, he ended it the day before the day of the rehearsal dinner. But Tracey, I just blanked on her last name. The other Tracey and I were working in the base together. So when I got back, because I was supposed to be on my honeymoon, but I took the time off because I was devastated after being. I come back and she's like, everybody keeps asking me if I'm okay. I was like, thanks. If you could just take that for me so I don't have to answer any questions, that would be great.
That's the I think that's the only backdraw, or how do you say, not downside or of Disney is not knowing everybody's real name. Like I called you Tracey, right? Because that's
what you know me as.
Right. But I've only known you that for 25 years.
Right.
But if you didn't have that name, I would just call you Tracey, but I wouldn't have known your.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I know 14 Tiffany's, or I might know 6 Sarahs.
Right.
With an H or without an H. You know what I mean? It's like.
Right.
It's the only thing, because you're like, and it makes you. I feel absolutely horrible, because I try to give credit where it's due, and I try to tell people stories and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, and his name was Bob, but God, what was his last name? Because we didn't do last names,
right?
Unless you were Bob Crummett, or shout out to Bob Crummett, one of my favorite managers of all time. I just sent him a message the other day after you got done with all the Christmas stuff. I'm like, yep, you're still my favorite manager.
Yeah, you should get him on here.
I would love to have Bob on there. Bob, let's make it happen.
Listen, doing Mrs. Claus with him, love it.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
Hey, funny story about that real quick, and I love the hitting all over the place, because
I know, right? People are going to be like, "What is happening?"
They're like taking notes, like I can't follow you with a spreadsheet. But I was at Epcot one year, and I was with Mr. and Mrs. Claus, and we go back to the break room, and he asked me a couple questions, and he says, "Billy, where are you from?" And I said, "Oh, I'm from a little town. You probably never heard of it. It's called Center Hill." And he goes, "Yeah, that's just outside of Webster, right?" And I'm like, "What?
How do you know that?"
He's like, "Yeah, it has a big." And at that time, they had just built this huge RV park there. He's like, "They have a huge RV park called Grand Motor Coach, whatever." And I go, "Santa?" I was like, at first I was a little creeped out, but I was like, wait a minute.
Right.
You know where I live? Because nobody. funny to continue the funny story. Greg Hewlett was he was my neighbor.
Are you serious?
Yes, Tracey.
Wow.
It's so funny. We're at work one day and he goes. Greg's like, yeah, I bought some property out there. It's next to my dad's place, and he's like, it's in a little town, and I'm like, well, where is it? And he's like, oh, you never heard of it. It's in Sumter County. I'm like, like where in Sumter County? Well, it's a place called Center Hill. And I'm like, go on, because I didn't live in town. I lived outside of town, and it's just like you think Bushnell is small? Center Hill's like a third of that, like not even that. And so I'm like, he's like, yeah, you go out of town and you go around this curve, and I'm like, my God, Greg, we're neighbors. Like literally, I know exactly.
Wow.
I know exactly what he's talking about, and we were neighbors. He before he moved again, but for the longest time he lived right across the. I mean, he was still like 1,000 feet away. You know, I could probably see his house with binoculars, but we were neighbors. I'm like, what are the odds? Like he was living in Claremont.
Wow.
I'm like, dude, what? How did you find this place?
Right.
And he's like, yeah, well, my dad bought this property. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Craig, we're freaking neighbors.
I was here 2 weeks ago in this very large town.
You were here?
My car broke down here.
Where were you coming from? Like, why were you
My husband and my daughter were coming from Tallahassee. He surprised her, let her skip school. She got up for school and he was like, let's go. And she was like, why am I not riding with Mom? And he's like, because you and I are going to see snow instead. So he took her to Tallahassee, and on the way back, the car died.
Gotcha.
And
You're
it
on
was in
75?
Sumter. And he had exited, and the tow truck brought him to some place in Sumter County, some over there. I don't know. But we had to leave the car there overnight, and like I was like, this is when the car dies, and they steal it. And then we
won't steal it.
Right, we called
We'd
Ford.
probably be able to fix it in someone's front yard.
No, do you know it was so kind? Because the guy over there goes, this is a recall. He said, and you're going to have to tow it away because if I fix it, you're going to lose the recall.
Yeah.
And my husband was like, okay, what's wrong with it? And he was like, your engine is cracked.
Oh, Lord.
How do you get a recall on that? And then they said, we don't know how to fix it. So that's why that gorgeous car out there is what I'm driving. It's not mine.
Oh, well.
I drive a Ford EcoSport.
with is it a hybrid?
Yes.
Oh, is it? I'm just kidding.
And it has no back. Like it looks like a clown car.
Is it a hatchback thing?
No, it's like an old station wagon. You open it up and it opens to the side.
Okay, I got you.
And it's heavy as all get out. And I'm like, man, we used to ride in the back of these things. Look it out.
No seatbelts.
No seatbelts.
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
But so in the last, I have probably come this way since I lived in Florida, maybe 3 times my entire life. In the last 10 days, I've driven here 6 times.
Yeah.
Then here today too.
I'm literally like a mile from 75. Yeah. It's really close.
Yeah. When I put in your address, I was like, oh, look, it's where the car is.
Oh, look. It's still there?
No. We had to we had to tow it. We had to rent a tow truck.
I thought maybe they were fixing it there. I'm like, why wouldn't they bring it closer to you?
Because they wanted me to come back through the green swamp.
Oh, yeah.
With the 6 minutes of quiet. Everything shuts down.
And
when
no
you have to drive a vehicle, and then like the whole purpose of a cell phone is so that you don't die. And then you drive through the green swamp. For anyone that doesn't know this is no lie. You literally are driving and I was jamming Bat Dance by Prince was on. I was like, Bat Dance and dancing. And then all of a sudden it's all quiet.
Yep.
And then all you hear, even though it's not playing, is and I was like, oh, Suey, piggy, this is the time. And I'm like, don't break down for that little stretch. You're just like, please God, please God, please God, please God, please God.
Are we at Biffalo?
Right.
I'm just kidding. That's everybody at Disney was like, they're like, have you ever been to Biffalo? Oh my God. I'm like, have you ever been to where I live?
Right.
Out in we're out in the sticks, bro.
Yeah, but it's cute.
Anybody that come over, they get out of the car at night and they're like, where's the streetlights at?
Well, you know what I wanted to ask you, which I think is, maybe you'll judge me for this, but I can't live in, like, my husband's like, let's go buy property.
Yeah.
No, because where's your Publix?
20 miles away.
That's an absolute no-go. No. No. What? No.
Yeah. It's in.
So is Prime delivery 5 days for you?
No.
Amazon Prime and
Bushnell.
Bushnell.
Courier pigeon.
I love them.
Yes.
Here, birdie.
Oh, so speaking
Feed
of,
the birds.
we're gonna go back. So this is
right,
a good segue to back to Disney. So when I was working at Merlin,
He was my husband on set.
Sword in the Stone, right? Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Jeff and I used to have this ongoing thing. He'd call me Lily. That was Fairy Godmother's real name. And he was my Schnookies. And he'd come see me as he walked up and he would be like, Lily. I'm like, I've told you not to call me that in front of the kids. All the time.
When I was at Magic Kingdom Sword in the Stone, he had a bird.
Yep.
So did Castle Show. And then they got rid of him because Mr. Hawk decided, hey, we can perch up on these pine trees
and then eat them
and wait for the pigeons to fly out. And then we're going to take free lunch. It's a Meals on Wheels. Well, it was the royal selecting bird. And the part of the show was he pull it out. For those of you who don't know, pull the bird out and he go, I'm going to use the royal selecting bird. And he would take it and let the bird fly. Well, obviously the bird's going to fly away. And he's like, well, he's looking. And he's looking. He's really looking, you know. And but this one particular time, Castle Show was delayed or they were running behind. And he lets go of the bird and the fireworks go off. And that bird, I guess, had a heart attack. Just falls down on the ground. And of course, I'm the, Sir Billy, come over here and shoot this bird.
Right, because we didn't know what to do when that kind of stuff happened.
I'm just like,
right.
Take a park nap, scoop it up. You know.
Oh my gosh.
It was devastating.
You know, the things would happen that people didn't understand. It was 25th parade and we had to stop and dance with people, right? Mm-hmm. Such an awful story. And I always wanted to pick out like the little kids or the little old men. I'm a little old lady, so let's do this. But I was only 19. And so
sounds fitting.
So I'm walking down the street. She was my dream job. Do you understand? When I went to the Face audition, I was like, please, 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 please let me get this. Because she fits me. Yeah. I'm so bubbly. Yeah. So I'm
jovial.
So I'm walking down the street and there's this little old man. And Paul Giandomenico goes, like pointing out this old man. Well, I guess he was pointing out the kid. I don't know. So I go, okay. So 19, walk over to this old man and I'm like, hi, would you like to dance? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, all right. He's excited, right? So we go to dance and he's like all in love with Fairy Godmother and like squeezing me like close. And I was like, oh, it's awkward. Presses against me and he's like, I was 19 and this man was excited. He was like 78 years old. So I go, and I step back and my crinoline falls down.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh no. And I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I'm not going to change anything. So I just completely lift my leg, step out of it. And I'm like, Paul, throw it over my shoulder and start walking and then throw it to him. And I'm like, that man was wrecked. And he just falls over laughing, holding a crinoline in his hand.
What a rat.
Just stuff like that would happen. Just things happened, and you were just like dead birds.
You just keep going. That's the thing is, like,
right. That's how I teach now.
Well, that's what I would tell people that all the time. Like, look, these people don't know what's gonna like if you give a speech or whatever. They've never heard your speech.
Right.
Just keep going.
Right. And
don't go, oh, have you seen the video where the girl's singing the national anthem and she's at a volleyball game?
Yes.
She drops the F-bomb?
Yes.
She's like, F.
Listen, I've been teaching before and kids have thrown me off so bad that I totally am like, what the fuck? And I'll say it and then I'm like, great, this is the day I resign. You know, but sometimes they'll say things to me that I'm like,
yeah.
And I am definitely someone that's like, I'll keep going. I'll throw things at you. I mean, you guys, did I ever tell you about the day that I created the Post-it notes? What? I'm like, I invented them. Why? So you could use them. What? No. Like, I'll come up with anything, right? And the kids will sometimes say things, and it's their goal. Everybody's goal. Just get Downey to stop talking for a second. Try to shock her. And I'm like, nope, didn't work. You know what? But I learned that at Disney.
Yeah.
Disney taught us just keep going.
Yep, just keep going. Seriously. I mean, that's where the old from Nemo is just keep swimming. It's the same thing as just keep going. You don't know. They don't know what's going on. They don't know that that's not part of the show.
Right. I was working at Jungle Cruise and we'd shoot the gun,
Yes.
to fight. Well, when I first started, you shot the hippos. You were like, I'll scare them off. Well, I went to shoot and it didn't work. And I'm like, we're just, and I like yelled really loud. And so the whole boat started yelling and another skipper was coming around the corner and heard us all yelling. And he's like, what's wrong? He's like yelling on his mic. And I'm like, we're trying to scare the hippos. And he's like, are you serious? So his whole boat started screaming. So there's two boats screaming. So another boat comes in reverse back down through the jungle. I'm laughing so hard. And it's a manager and he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, there were hippos. That's all I could say. And he was like, he goes, they're supposed to be there. And I'm like, we were scared.
It's that hippo law.
Right. He was like, okay, we're going to go now.
Yeah.
Want to bring your boat? And I'm like, no, because if I go to the dock, you're going to fire me. You guys, when you get off, everybody stop and tell him how much you love me so he doesn't fire me.
We're going to take a poll.
Right. All in favor for me staying.
It's like Survivor on the docks.
Right.
One of my favorite things when Celia Wayne was on the show, we talked about this. It's the 35th anniversary of Disneyland, and Tony Danza's riding Jungle Cruise. And it's like, you ride Jungle Cruise. It's probably how long would you say?
It's 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, that's what I was about to say. 10 minutes. So literally, it's like. It seems so much longer than that because it's different takes, like different cuts are going different. So like he's like, and the skipper is the guy who did Roger Rabbit's voice.
Really?
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but it was like it's for the special, So. Okay. So he's all like, "Hey guys," and he's like, "Come on in the boat," So he starts saying all this. He does all the jokes just like you're supposed to. And it's a scene where the hippo part, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll scare him." And he takes the gun and he starts pow pow like he's in a street fight,
right?
Right? Like you're supposed he's selling it, and he goes, "That'll teach him." And then the natives, he's like, "All right, if you get hit with a spear, throw it back. We're not allowed to keep souvenirs." But they actually hurled objects at the boat, like real spear, like not real, but like it wasn't part of the. People were jumping out of the boat. You've never seen that before?
No.
I have to show it to you. It's hilarious. But he goes, "All right, guys, we got some natives up here, and they're really agitated. So if you get hit with a spear, throw it back because we're not allowed to keep souvenirs."
Oh my God.
And he takes the gun out again and he's firing upon the natives.
Oh my gosh.
It's hilarious.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
It was in the 80s. It was
Chevy Chase and Steve Martin and them started. They worked at Jungle Cruise in Disneyland.
No way.
When Chevy Chase came to the park, you're not allowed to talk to celebrities, like we're not supposed to. Yeah. So I did crowd control one night, and I walk up to this man, he had a hat on. I did it to everybody, and I have my flashlight. I pick up his hat, and I'm like, "You feel a little lightheaded? Did you feel a little lightheaded?" And I realize it's Chevy Chase. So I put the hat down. He grabs the flashlight, puts it in my face. He goes, "You feel a little stupid? Feel a little stupid?" And I was like, "Sir, that's my flashlight. Can I have it back, please?" And he was like, "I'm turning you in. You're not supposed to talk to anyone." And I was like, "Please, sir, don't." I'm deathly afraid. I'm like, "I'm so sorry. Please, and I'm like almost in tears. And he's like, "I know the rules here. I worked here." And I was like, "You're Chevy Chase." And he's like, "And you're Tracey." And I said,
he looked down at you,
right,
"And you're Tracey."
And I said, "Tracey, I have a last name." And he goes, "Tracey, Houston, Texas." And he said, I was in my jungle skipper, and he's like, "Did you work at the Jungle Cruise?" And I was like, "No, sir." And he was like, "Don't lie." And I was like, he's like, "I hate when they brought girls."
You're like, "Maybe."
Yeah. I was like,
"Oh, really?"
"Oh, yeah," because they were, and I said, "Oh, I just stand in the line." And he was like, "I'm just kidding." Like, he was so fun. I was like, "Oh," but he said, "We should go over there. You should do the trip for me." And I'm like, "There's no way I'm going to do a cruise, a spiel for Chevy Chase."
Yeah.
And he and Danny DeVito and Rena Perlman and all of them came on my boat hours later.
Oh, that's cool.
And he gets on and he's like, "Feel a little lightheaded?" And I'm like, "Feel a little stupid?" So I start going, and as I'm doing doing it. They're doing the whole spiel. I'm like, welcome to the world famous Jungle Cruise. I'm like, my name is Tracey, and he's at the same time. My name is Chevy, and I'm like, I need you to quiet down, sir. I was like, you think you know it all? Here, take the wheel. So I unscrewed the wheel and handed it to him, and he was like, that's an old joke. Do you know this one? And he took over the whole ride and did it for everybody.
No way.
I mean, those guests were like, can you imagine Chevy Chase, Danny DeVito, and everybody? Yeah, it was cool.
Wow.
I just sat there like, oh, wow.
That's so cool, though.
Yeah.
That's a cool. I mean, that's the experiences that you meet. Like you would meet celebrities all the time. Like I ran into Chris Tucker one time in Toontown.
He's so funny.
He is hilarious.
So funny.
And
they just want to be with their families when they're there.
Yeah, but you don't know how to be sometimes.
Right.
Because you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm
still in attendance, so still do what I ask.
One time we were I was at Teacups, and all day since Rope Drop, people have been talking about Mick Jagger's in the park, and I'm like, I know it ain't Mick Jagger. They're talking about Steven Tyler, because they can't distinguish the two.
Right.
So I'm like, the difference is, I said, guys, they're two different people, but people call them each other, you know. Hey, it's Steven Tyler. No, I'm not. I'm
Mick Jagger.
I'm Mick Jagger. And so anyways, I remember coming up to set, and my brother was in the park, and he's like 9 at the time, 9 or 10. And he loved Aerosmith. Don't ask me why, but he loved Aerosmith. Way past his prime. Born in the wrong decade. And as soon as we come out, you go into show mode. You're boom,
right.
boom, hi. You got the Mad Hatter, hey, and I hear, hey, and I'm like, what the? And I look over, and it's Steven Tyler. He's going to the bathroom right there by Teacups. So I'm like, that's not Mick Jagger. That's Steven Tyler. And I was like, oh my gosh, my brother's going to freak out. I took 3 steps, and my brother jumped out of the bushes. He was like, Steven Tyler's here.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, oh my gosh, dude. I was like, Jimmy, you're 9. You can get away with this. I can't talk to him. But you can go up there and ask him to take a picture with you or whatever. Like, he might do it. You never know. So my brother never did. He was like, he took the high road. He's like, no, I got to give him his space. I was like, you're 9. You don't know what that is. You don't know what space is.
Right.
But the guy that I was working with, friends with Hatter that day, mom was there to see, was a big fan, and walked up to Steven Tyler and was like, hey, would you care to take a picture with my son?
Oh my gosh.
She's like, I don't mean to impose. I'm so sorry. I don't mean it. He's like eating a Rice Krispie treat. He's like, yes, you are. You're imposing.
Right.
Right? Because I'm in the park with my family.
Right.
And so he's like, well, where's your son? And she's like, he's over there.
He's the one in the house.
And he goes, that's your son? She's like, yeah. And he goes, okay. He walks over.
That's cool.
He goes over, he puts his arm around his friend, and he says, smile at mom.
That's so cool. They're just normal people.
I have that picture.
Really?
Yes. And his face is like, oh.
You know, they're so normal. They're so normal. You know, and I think working at Disney, you realize that. So like my kids are like just cannot get past the fact of the names that I can say that I've met. And to me, I have a story for all of them, but they're pretty generic. Like they're like, this is so, you know.
It's like a high and by deal. Whether your water is supplied by a public municipality or a private well, for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing wear. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal & Clark, and Kingston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with them. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store. Pat's Taps at Catfish Johnny's. Pat's Taps is Lake Pennsauken's newest tap room, offering 14 rotating craft beers on tap. We also offer bottled domestic beers, seltzers, ciders, and wine, as well as a variety of appetizers and pub food. Our family-friendly tap room is a great place to come hang out and enjoy some one-of-a-kind craft beer. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or the Untapped app. Looking for custom apparel that stands out? Welcome to the Stitching Heifers, Bushnell's premier embroidery and custom apparel shop. From custom hats, t-shirts and jackets to unique gifts and business branding, we specialize in high quality, personalized apparel that reflects your style and vision. Step into our exclusive hat bar and design your one-of-a-kind custom hat, perfect for personal flair or promoting your brand. At the Stitching Heifers, we're committed to bringing your ideas to life with exceptional service and attention to detail. Whether it's for you, your business, or a thoughtful gift, we're your trusted partner for all things custom in the heart of Sumter County. Stop by today or visit us online to get started. The Stitching Heifers, custom style, local heart. When it comes to building in Sumter County, experience matters. From remodels, barns, additions, and accessory buildings to creating the custom home of your dreams, our Hogan Construction delivers quality you can trust. Russell is hands-on and on-site daily, going above and beyond to ensure the project isn't just completed, but crafted to perfection. He doesn't just meet expectations, he exceeds them. For a builder who puts integrity and craftsmanship first, call R. Hogan Construction today at 352-793-7660. Russell Hogan Construction. Built on tradition, built to last. Catfish Johnny's Restaurant, serving the Lake Pennsauken and surrounding areas since 1990. For the last 33 years, we have strived to serve great food at great prices and a friendly, casual atmosphere. If seafood isn't your thing, our burgers or wings are the best around. We have daily specials too. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram for more information. Duto Realty is a homegrown business with an eye for getting the job done right. From football games to Sunday school and everything in between, these ladies care about our community and the people in it, helping buyers and sellers in all of Florida with all types of transactions, including residential, commercial, farm, or vacant land. They do it all. They even offer auction services and sellouts to always get the job done right.
Who's the most legendary person you met?
Legendary?
Yeah.
Julie Andrews. Shit, I love Julie Andrews.
Okay, yeah. She's good. Yeah. You know who I met?
Who's that?
Charlton Heston.
Really? Okay.
Everyone was like, he's Moses.
I know. He was at one point, this might have been the time you met him.
No, it was in 95 when I met him.
Oh, okay, then never mind. He had been there before or after that because he was in Fantasyland.
Yes.
And he was sitting on a bench.
Yes, and no, people didn't know who he was.
No.
Yep.
Sean Connery did the same thing. But I didn't meet him. That's what I was just told.
Yeah.
But
a lot of them would just sit and relax. And, I would say legend. Yeah. Julie Andrews, I just got to walk past her setting up for parade, that Easter parade.
Well, I got.
When Bruce got to be Bert.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
and he was like, oh my God.
Yeah. That's like when Mandy London Wiseman met her. It was like, I'd have been like, so good to see you.
Do you know, I just blanked on his name, and if I say it, you'll know who it is. Who sings Jesse's Girl?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God, Tina Licata is getting so mad at me watching this. I can't think of his name now.
Gary Tompkins is probably mad at you because he would play that during warm-ups.
Jesse's Girl.
Yeah. He was a big 80s guy.
Well, whoever the Jesse's Girl. Oh my gosh. Rick Springfield.
Yeah. That's right.
So I met him at the castle.
Oh, that's cool.
And he said, I went over to his family. They're being normal. And I said, it's nice to meet you. And he said, I hear you're a singer. And I said,
oh my God.
Well, yes, I have an album out. It's called Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. And he goes, oh, he's like, since you're in the music industry, you've probably heard of my music. And I said, who are you? And, because you have to say, and he goes, I'm Rick Springfield. And I said, that name doesn't ring. I don't know that name. And he said, Jesse's Girl. I'm like, no, I'm Cinderella's girl. Cinderella's my girl. And he's, he goes on and on. He's trying desperately to get me to say, yes, I know who Jesse's Girl is. Oh, I think he got it.
Oh, he's just bantering with you?
He's just, yep.
Wow.
And they're trying so hard. And I said, I'm pretty sure my song is more popular than yours. Yeah. And he was like, no way. And I'm like, okay, we'll take a poll. Step back from the table. And I'm like, ladies and gentlemen of the castle, we're going to sing 2 songs. And we're going to see which one you like better. And I assure you, there will be no hard feelings for this person that y'all don't know. So I sing Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. He sings like 2 8 bars of Jesse's Girl. And I said, does anybody even know who Jesse is? Let's make him feel proud, everyone. Let's clap.
Good show, my lad.
Right, I said, raise your hand if you think I have the best song. Of course, every kid is like, yeah, like screaming. And I was like, it'll be okay. One day you'll make it big. And I gave him a hug. My God. So I walk out and he goes, you really don't know my song? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't. And he looked so defeated.
Yeah.
And so I walk into the kitchen. And he's walking over to go to the stairwell. And I said, sir, he's like, what? And I'm like, if only I Jesse's Girl. And I sing the lyrics, whisper them to him. And he was just smiled really big, gave me a hug. And he was like, that was fun. It's like moments, cool. It was like just cool little things like that just happened every day.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the thing is you never knew who you were going to run into. You there were several instances where, they said that this might happen. Like when Bruce Wolf was telling me about how he was talking about how Madonna would be on the bridge. He's like, who is it? Madonna on the bridge, And then one day it was Madonna. He was like, oh yeah, right there. No, Bruce, seriously, it's Madonna. And he was like, oh my gosh.
And we did, and you just do parade route and you walk past him and you're like, yep, that was so-and-so. Yep, that was so-and-so.
I've seen several people from afar, but never besides the whole thing with Steven Tyler and meeting Julie Andrews. Julie Andrews she used to write, well, I don't know if she still does or not, but she had children's books. And if you bought a book, she would sign it for you. Like a book, your book sign. So I got to meet her that way.
Wow.
But yeah, it was at studios at the, was that ABC?
Commissary?
Yeah, the commissary there. Yep.
Wow.
But yeah, like I said, you never knew. That one time, the kid from Star Wars, the
Anakin.
Yes. I was at Monsters Inc. one day, and he wanted to try on something, and I said, no, you can't touch, you can't mess with it. But he was like gung ho, like we kind of interacted. He's like, hey, can I try that on? I'm like, no, you don't want. No, why would you want to? Like, you know what I mean? Like, no. Right. You don't. But it was funny because they're kind of curious as well.
Oh yeah.
About the whole thing. But
right.
There's a funny story of Cricket. Cricket Gill and I went to. Or not, I don't know if we weren't together. I'm sorry. That we always talk about. She was in the park and she met Debbie Gibson. Yeah. And she's like, Debbie, I love you. I love your music. Or whatever, like, hey, Deborah. Or Debbie. And she goes, it's Deborah. And she's like, well.
Some of them were, so listen to this. My rudest celebrity guest, everyone just gets so, Carrie Fisher.
Oh, really?
Carrie Fisher threw
I've heard she's
fit.
Yeah,
because I worked at Jungle Cruise. She was barefoot coming down to the dock, and you can't get on the boat without shoes. And I said, ma'am, you need shoes. I wasn't a big Star Wars person. I didn't know at first because you're just loading boats.
Right.
And she was like, I'm not putting on my shoes. And I was like, ma'am, you can't get on the boat without putting on your shoes. Well, I look up and realize it's her. And I said, you have to put your shoes on. And she goes, do you know who I am? And I said, do you know who I am? I work here. You have to have shoes on. I want your manager. I said, are you serious right now? Just put your shoes on.
Yeah.
So I had to call my manager. My manager comes down,
Yeah.
and my manager is like, "What's the problem?" I said, "I'm telling her she has to put her shoes on and ride on the boat. She won't. She refuses." So my manager's like, "You have to put your shoes on." She was like, "Then I just won't go on the ride." It's like 10 minutes of my life wasted trying to get. And then she's like, she should have just told me in the first place. Puts her flip-flops on her feet and get on the boat. I'm like, I hate her.
She had shoes on in the movie, for crying out loud.
Right. What's the problem? Like, you're getting on a boat. And why would you want to put your feet on something? Like, ugh.
Yeah, no.
So many tetanus shots.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember Sarah Volley? Do you remember her? She was an attendant. She was also Fantasyland Ops. But there's a funny story that since you said tetanus shot, she was evacuating Small World, and she's got the boat hook, the big. And she was walking with it. Well, she's like so worried about the guests. She's like, "All right, guys, blah blah blah." She runs on a platform, goes in the drink, which is only like obviously, but she falls in. Luckily, she wasn't impaled or by anything, like some surfboard or some kid, like a puppet.
I dove in to save a child who fell between the dock and the boat at Jungle Cruise.
No
I had to
way.
scream to people, push the boat, and I had to dive in.
Is it deep?
In the jog area, it's about 10 feet.
Oh, wow.
But this was a 2-year-old. Like, watch your child.
Oh,
and
no way.
In the Jungle Cruise water. And so I dove in. I was a lifeguard before I got to Disney.
Yeah.
Dove in, like, got her out and stuff, and like literally had to like get her like, okay. Like, she wasn't screaming. She was terrified. And, like, the parents are screaming at me, and I'm like, okay, everybody, just stop talking.
Yeah.
And like, get her out, soaking wet. I'm soaking wet, and they're like, I walked back there to first aid, bring her to first aid when it was at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
And they take the little girl, and then they take me, and they walk me right into a room, and they're like, tetanus now. I mean, oh.
Well, that's what they did to Sarah. The next day, like, she's like, I'm gonna like when it happened, she's like, I'm gonna need a tetanus shot on it. And they're like, no, you're good. The next day she was off. They called her at home and said, you can hear people laughing in the background. She's like, Sarah, you need to come in and get a tetanus shot. She's like, oh man.
They didn't even let me wait. Like, they walked me in, they grabbed me.
No.
And then a few weeks later, I was cleaning the elephants before the shift, and I fell out of the boat. And they were like, you're gonna get it. I'm like, nope, already done.
Yep.
Saved.
Wow. I've seen people drink that water. Not Jungle Cruise, but Small World. They fill their water bottles up. Yeah. I'm like, every time I see that, every time I see a video like that, I'm like,
right. Y'all have no idea.
No, have no clue. I was like, you're going to have so much iron in you.
Right.
You're not going to need no zinc or magnesium because you're going to be...
shots or anything. Like, you're done with all vaccines for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you can handle that.
No boosters there.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. But, so, we caught up on Disney, and there's so many, like I told Bruce and Celia and Mark Daniel, I was like, man,
hours. We could talk hours.
So many funny stories, which, by the way, if you remember one while we're talking on this next subject, go ahead. But I would love to get into what you're doing now. First of all, I would love to show everybody your book, which is
Yay.
It's called They Don't Know It All. History Class Live. Is it live, right?
It's live.
It's live. And it's by Tracey M. Downey. Sorry, I want to keep calling you right.
That's
and
okay.
I'm so proud of you. This is so cool.
Thank you.
And she brought me a copy, guys. And we'll get her to sign it before she leaves. But this is, I was telling her before we started, this is more like my size book. Like, this is like AR time right here. Like, but if it was like a Harry Potter book, I'd be like, oh, that's so cool. I'll have to take it section by section. But just not a big reader. But let's just talk about what you are doing now, besides, including the book. Where did you get the inspiration to write this?
So I've been teaching now for, oh my God, ready?
Yeah.
For 20 years.
Really?
Yes, you're so old.
No, but like 20 years ago was 2005.
Yeah, I was seasonal.
Oh, that's right. You said that. Okay.
I was part-time, actually.
Full time.
I was full-time from 95 to 2005.
Okay.
2004. I was full-time for 9 years.
I gotcha.
Part-time for 2, and then seasonal the rest.
Okay. That makes sense.
So this is my 20th year of teaching, and I taught elementary school. I taught kindergarten and first grade ESE kids.
Okay. That's fun.
Those are some stories.
Yeah.
And then I taught 5th grade for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved from 5th grade to high school because they stopped teaching social studies, and history's my jam. So I switched to high school, and it was so crazy because my first day, I'm short.
Yeah.
And I walk in like I'll try to be big and bad because in charge of 5th graders, I knew what I was doing, and in walks kids like 6'5" with beards.
Yeah,
I'm like, sit down, please. Right. I'm like, sit down, please. Please sit down.
Please sit down.
Now I'm not scared of any of them. I'm like, whatever. You guys are pansies. Want to work for Snickers. But they say, so it has been a collection. So during COVID, I tried to make teachers laugh by making videos of what it was like to be virtual, which is really like this, right? And the teachers had no idea how to be. Kids had no idea how to be. So you would literally, well, y'all can't see me, but anyway, I'll do it for you. So this is the screen, and all you'd see is this. And I'd be like, turn on your camera. What, miss? All the time. And so I would make these funny videos for teachers, just being like making fun of it. These are the rules if you're gonna do, and I would do this accent, and it just became this persona. Then when I got back, my friends were really struggling at Disney. A lot of them had been laid off, and I wanted to post things on social media to make you guys laugh. So I started making up telling y'all conversations in class. Well, then people started saying, you should really put these in a book. You should really put these in a book. And I thought on it. And then I started to write the big book that I'm writing. Announcement. This is foreshadowing.
Cool.
And I wanted to see how the process worked.
Right.
So I sat down one weekend, took all of them off social media, and then wrote all the chapter intros by myself, and then realized, I actually know how to write. It was a 40-day process from start to finish. Wow. And then all of a sudden, they call me and they're like, your book is live. And I'm like, what? And they're like, here it is. And they send me the link to Amazon.com, and there's my book. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm a published author.
That's cool.
So,
That's so cool.
So I got to design the cover and got to, and
the cover's really cool. We were talking about it before we started.
Yeah, I'm super proud of it.
It's really cool. I'm still trying to figure out what that is on the top right. But.
Yeah, so we'll have to.
Is that like a recorder?
Does it zoom in? Can y'all zoom in? Does it zoom in? Can yours zoom in? There's an object. There's the object that Billy is pointing to.
I think it looks like a kaleidoscope almost, but it looks like
it is definitely not a kaleidoscope.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
It's like it looks like a recorder.
Well, it does, but it looks like one of those things where you go, and it would flip the disc. Oh, that's what it looks like.
Oh, that slide thing.
Yeah. I said
yes,
kaleidoscope, but that's.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the little handle on the side, and it's supposed to be red.
No.
I think it's an answering machine.
It could be.
Or a recording device.
Yeah, some kind of. They're listening somewhere.
Somebody somewhere is going to watch this podcast and be like, actually, what that is.
We're
please. Good. Please tell
email
us.
The show at thegoblayshow@gmail.com.
And let us know what the red and green button is.
If you've seen this machine
or if you know what this is.
Which one is that? Oh, that's definitely a
calculator.
That's a four button calculator. Right?
It's an adding machine of some sort, but I'm not a math teacher. And why do you have random presents? So long story short, they said, what do you want the cover to look like? And I said, my desk. And they said, okay. They said, take a picture of your desk. So I took a picture, and they were like, there's too much stuff on it. And I was like, that's what I want the cover to look like.
But that's my desk.
Right. But they wouldn't use my desk because my desk picture had students' names on it. So they took my picture, they AI'd the cover, and I said, but I want a leather-bound book because that's history to me.
Oh, yeah.
And then I had my student design the Post-it note.
That's cool.
And then I said I need the Constitution because I teach history. And then they kept all my Post-it notes. So there's on the corner one where the little egg is. I have an optimistic egg in my class because my kids say I'm always optimistic. But there's a little dedication to my husband. So it says, turn in the copy number 808. Well, I got married on 808.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it also says check AVD's grade, which are my daughter's initials.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and then everything else is like my pens and stuff. But yeah, so it's just a collection of things that students have said.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's a collaboration of thoughts and conversations you've had with
Right. And it was funny because the whole process is quick, but they had me on a Zoom call and they talked to me about doing an audiobook. And I was like, okay. They said, you can do your own audiobook, but you need to use podcasting equipment and this and that. And it would be really great. It's $1,400 to do. Everything is a price. $1,400 to do it. Or we can get an actress to do it for $1,800. So they put the actress on the phone that they picked for me. I am a very unique person. So she starts to read my words, my students. She doesn't read it right. So let me read one so it makes sense. November 16th, 2020. She reads it just like this. Student 1, did y'all know that Bill Nye the Science Guy is still alive? Me, yes. Student 1, Miss, he had so old, he like 60-something. Student, because really 30's old. And I said, do you even think you're funny? This was me on a Zoom call with an actress. And she goes, yes, I said it right. I said it I said, that's not how it goes. No. She said, okay, well, you do it since you think you're so good. I'm like, I am me. That's me. I wrote.
Yeah.
So I said, it's supposed to be like this. Student 1, Miss, did you know that Bill Nye the Science Guy is still alive? Me, yes. Student, Miss, he has to be so old, like 60-something. Student 2, because really, 30 is now old, Miss. Welcome to the grave. What? Like the whole book is like just conversations like that. Like this happened today, or not today, this week. I'm not kidding. This was a true story. Student is working on a monologue. Student is practicing in front. Student says, okay, Miss, because I don't know why I don't have a name. It's just Miss. Miss, I'm practicing my monologue for you. I said, all right, go for it. She goes, Suzanne. What is even in that name? It's not like a Karen name. And so I laugh and I say, okay. And she looks at me and goes, no, really, truly. What is a Suzanne name? Like, that's so Karen. And I said, Suzanne can't be a Karen name. Karen's a Karen name. Suzanne is a Suzanne name. And she goes, yep. Wait, what? I said, wait, what? And she goes, Karen's a real name?
Oh my gosh.
Just stares at me. I said, are you serious right now? And she goes, yeah. I said, Karen is not an adjective. And she goes, it is. It's used to describe names. Oh my God. This is 11th grade honors.
Wow.
Every day.
Wow.
Every day.
That's crazy though.
Yeah. Like it's funny. Like if you don't laugh, it's sad.
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes you're like, oh my God.
Well, listen, Trey, the reason, and this is completely my biased opinion, but nobody talks to anybody anymore.
Nope.
They don't talk to anybody. So how would she know that someone's name is Karen?
How do you not know that?
I know that sounds so dumb, but I'm just saying.
Kids in our class were like, Karen is our assistant principal's name. Yeah. Karen Johnson. How did you miss that? Yeah. We have an assistant principal named Karen. Okay. Welcome to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like, they think, bye, Felicia. I'm like, they got that from Friday.
Right. They don't know.
They don't know.
We were talking about Charles Lindbergh. So the whole thing is about history stories. But so we're talking about Charles Lindbergh crossing the Atlantic. Yeah. And I always need to know. These are the things I need to know. I need to know where he peed. Like, I really do. I need to know how the person at Cirque du Soleil knows that he can stack 50 chairs. Yeah. Like, did his parents not pay attention when he was a kid? Right. These are things I need to know. Why does someone know they know how to fly around in sheets? Yeah. Like, no parental supervision? This is what I wonder. So I'm sitting there and the kids, hold on, I wrote it down. This is so bad. This is what my life is now. Okay. Look at, it's just pages and pages of it. This is the next one. So student says about Charles Lindbergh. Oh, we also don't know what salmonella is either. Student says, oh, well, now I'm never going to find it now that I say that. Just kidding. Don't worry. Let's just do this one. Student 1, helping a student with a phone call for their senior capstone project. They're a senior in high school. Student says, wait, how do I call a number with letters? Me, rolling my eyes while starting to giggle and picking up the phone. Student 2, oh yeah, how do you do that with letters? When I see commercials that say call 1-800 and then some word, I think to myself, now how are we going to do that? They're dumb. They just lost business. Me, cannot contain my giggles. Student 1, what? Ask any student. No one will know how to call with letters. Me, challenge accepted. I asked in all 7 of my classes, 5. Wow. Total. 5. Out of 149 knew how to do it.
That's crazy.
It's crazy and it's scary.
Yes, it is. It's very scary.
It's like, do I laugh or cry? Like, I'm not sure. Really.
Well, I'm telling you right now, when we went through COVID, this has started. It wasn't just an epidemic where with health. It was mental health, because it was like, you got kids that are in elementary right now that are they're babies of COVID. They were in
right.
Either they were born during COVID, they were because of COVID they were born, or they were in early years, like they were toddlers.
Right.
And they have no sense of
None. When TikTok was taken off,
yeah,
for all of what,
was there like
an
a
hour and a half,
protest in the streets?
crying
Yeah.
in classes. I was like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. Like, this is not a big deal.
Yeah.
They don't get it. And they can't connect history at all.
Yeah.
I mean, history is like the end all be all to me. But I mean, they say, but they're thinking that everything that's on social media is real.
Yeah.
So every conversation starts with, well, I saw this thing on TikTok and I just want to, I'm like, hold on, while I gouge my eyes out, But I also see, God love all our people in the world, but our friends will post things and they're like, history says, I'm like, I twitch. I'm like,
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, to get anybody to actually try to learn something about that's not a TikTok dance or whatever.
Right.
See, I love history. I love it. It was my favorite subject, and I love it because, you learn so much from other people. They had to, that's how we got where we are.
Right.
Because without their help or their mistakes or whatever, I mean, we wouldn't be where we are.
Right. And their mistakes are what created this amazing thing that we have.
Right.
And we should be learning every day what was done wrong to make it better.
100%.
Yeah.
I saw this thing, someone said, they have it posted in their office. It says, if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying.
Agreed.
And so that's 100% with history. There's so many things that have been done because we didn't know how to do them the first time. And you just keep getting it better. You can't perfect something if you don't learn.
Well, and you have to think about it this way too. Like, I feel like this is a whole nother show, but like, you have to think about it in the sense that, almost 250 years ago, men, regardless of what people think, the founding fathers wrote these documents not for steadfast, like they wrote it for their children's children. They had no concept of how life would change technology wise. Because if we did not have the technology we have now, we would still be on the same plane.
Right.
It would have altered things and changed things. But these men, there are 27 amendments to the Constitution. That means that our ruling has stood 250 years with only 27 alterations.
Right.
Other countries don't last 250 years.
No.
So love it, like it, whatever you want to scream and yell about history, or, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
And then to look at what they said and what they actually, the intent is, because there's a really big problem right now with people trying to say, this is what they said. Well, I teach it every day and I wasn't there, so I'm not going to claim to know what they said. But here's a primary document where they wrote what they said.
Right.
So let's read that. And then we can only infer what they meant.
Yep.
We don't know, So it's really interesting. So I teach with primary documents.
Yeah.
So my students will tell you, Hershey's so hard. But then if you ask what hard means, it just means use a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to answer a question in my class or tell me about a TikTok story unless you have 2 sources. So if students say to me, I saw this on TikTok, before I can even say it now in January, they'll go, but I checked it and I found 2 sources, one that's for, one that's against. So which one is it, Miss Downey? Well, now let's talk. Let's actually have a conversation. Yeah. Because now I've been challenged.
Right.
But some of the stuff out there is right. It is. But people are picking and choosing.
Well, I think, you talk about the Declaration of Independence, and Joe Rogan has this great bit where he's like, he's talking about when they wrote it. If one of them was to come back now and go, wait, y'all not change any of that?
Right. Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
and I also think that they would say that because I watched Joe Rogan's thing, and I think that they would say that solely based on how could you not change it with everything that's gone on?
Right.
But we would say we have changed it.
Right. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But I would love to see the founding fathers now try to take what they wrote and better okay, now encompass what we have because you had no idea that this was going to happen.
Oh yeah.
So
right. And
I mean, we had people walking around in stores in pajamas and tube tops because that's the norm.
Yeah.
You had to marry someone in the South if you saw their ankles.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
okay.
And that's the thing is, those guys who signed that piece of paper were committing treason.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go, well, they just signed the Declaration. I'm like, no, they signed their death warrant.
Right, which is why John Hancock signed it so big, because he said, if I have to go, let me go big.
Yep,
go big or go home.
That's right. And it's amazing how something that we all take advantage of this. We all take advantage of this because it doesn't
affect us.
It doesn't affect us, and we live in a country, no matter what's going on, we have it so good. Oh, yeah. We really do. My God, we're sitting here talking on a podcast, for crying out loud, when there are people that have it way worse. Right. There are people in our own country that have it way worse. I'm just saying, it doesn't matter where you are. There's going to be different scenarios and different circumstances, but I think we have it pretty good. Yeah. And people can say what they want to say. Is it perfect? No, absolutely not. I don't think you'll ever perfect it because it's just one of those things where people will, you've got so many people. And, it can't be all yes. There has to be a few no's.
Right. And I love that people say what they want to say because that's what makes us better.
Absolutely. That's how you get better at things.
The only thing that I challenge my students, and I would challenge adults, and I would challenge everyone, and it goes on deaf ears, but I challenge people to listen to the other sides and the other opinions because absolutely the whole reason I can do what I do. I mean, do you know how hard it is to stand in front of kids every day when they listen to nothing but social media? Yep. One of my students checked their time on TikTok, 12 hours in one day. 12 hours on TikTok, and then they're going to come and listen to me. Yeah. What do I have? Right. Never mind the fact that I hold a master's degree in history, and and that doesn't matter. She knows nothing. Right. The girl on TikTok that can dance while talking, she knows it more. Yep. And it's like, are you serious right now? So I tell my kids, I'm like, you have to see both sides. If I tell you something and you don't agree with it, go look it up. Yeah. Challenge me, or better yet, make your own opinion based on the two sides. Because if somebody says this on this side and somebody says this on this side, understand that both of them heard something that made them have an opinion. Yep. Which means that the middle is where we're supposed to be. And and then I'll say that, and the kids are like, "Oh, I never thought of it like that." And I'm like, "You have to." I can take every president and tell you what they did good and what they did bad. Yeah. Everyone, because they did. Every president has a scandal. Speaking of, you want to know a really cool history fact? This is so off topic, but ready?
Go ahead.
Okay. So as a teacher, you have aha moments. You work in the school system. You know that there's like times that you're like, oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah, every day.
Okay. So yesterday I was writing this thing. I'm writing for a curriculum for somebody. And we were talking about executive orders because, in case you haven't heard, there's a lot of executive orders going on recently. Right. Okay. So we're on executive order 13,000, blah, blah, blah. And I have an aha moment. I have been teaching history for 20 years. And I said, oh, wait, where do the numbers come from? Are they in order? And if so, who was the first executive order? Right. And what would it be about? So I'm sitting there and I'm talking with other teachers and they're like, wait, you know what? I've never thought of it. I'm like, it has to be because Lyndon Baines Johnson's was 12,000 something, his executive order about civil rights. 11,000 was JFK's order about civil rights. Yeah. So I'm like, JFK wrote 1,000 executive orders? Hold on. Then I'm totally in. I'm like, now, FDR's 9066 order, Korematsu, with the internment camps. Right. So I'm like, they have to be in order. Right. Who has one? Okay, go ahead. Who do you think wrote the first executive order?
I want to say it was...
It's not George Washington.
No, I want to say it was probably... Give me a. Can you give me a number to pick from? Because I know that no.
No, I really want you just knowing what you know about presidents. Lincoln. You're correct.
Yeah, I figured. I don't know why.
Excuse me. I thought it would be John. I thought it'd be John Adams.
No, I figured. I was actually going to say James Madison, but
Madison, I would see. John Adams, I was going to argue because he made all the things about the judges, and then Madison with the judges. It was Abraham Lincoln. Do you know what it was about? No. POWs in Andersonville. Oh, shut the door. Okay. He holds executive order 1. How cool are you?
Yeah, that's cool.
I would have been like, hey, when I got to heaven, I'd have been like, hey, George, guess what I did? Yeah. Yeah. 16 presidents, no executive orders. He writes 1. Now we're at 13,000.
Right. Wow.
Isn't that a fun fact? I never knew that.
And you know, there's a lot of things that happen. Like you're talking about. Okay. So Lincoln was president 1861 to 1865,
and he's number 16.
Right. So you're talking about from there to when was Washington? The 17.
He was 1789.
1789. So you're talking about almost a good 100 years. Just say it.
Right.
Just round it up. You got 100 years of what?
Right.
What? Like, what is it? Like, nothing happened in 100 years?
No, tons of stuff happened. You know what? The coolest thing to watch is attack ads of 1800. It's a political ad, how we do it today, but done on those presidents back then. It's on YouTube. It is phenomenal. I show my kids every year.
Yeah.
Because it's so funny to watch, like, the Your Mama jokes. I mean, the first Your Mama joke in an election was Andrew Jackson. They literally said your mom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Thomas Jefferson was 1800 though, but they are smear campaigns and attack ads, and we had the Tripoli Pirates, and they didn't do any.
Yeah.
I mean, Washington, I don't think would have done an executive order simply because of how firm he felt about presidential power. But I still was like, on the way out, you should have been like, wait, and number 1, executive order. I'm out. Like, you should have done something.
Well, you know, when you said Washington, I watched a documentary on, you know, they wanted to make him king.
Right.
And he was like, guys,
we just fought
to get away from that.
Right.
So, and they
actually just wanted to give him the title king.
Right. But they also were going to give him another, he served 2 times.
He served 2 terms, and he said he has to step back.
He's done. Yeah.
He said that presidents shouldn't serve more than 2 terms.
Well, not only that, they said he could be found, like his second term, he could be found in like a banquet banging his spoon on the glass because he was just like, I would rather be anywhere but here.
Yeah, he was done. Yeah,
like
he was
stuff
done.
like that I love because that makes him more human than you would possibly think. He's on the dollar bill for crying out loud.
When in his we use his farewell address. It's so poignant when he says, you know, don't do political parties. George Washington's like, if you do political parties, it's going to tear the nation apart.
Right.
And don't get involved in foreign powers because that too will tear the nation.
Right.
And isn't that ironic?
And it's ironic because, well, you know, it's happened before. It can always come back.
And I don't think that we could ever not be involved in other nations. You know, our history is so interwoven. Now we're global.
Well,
you know,
Teddy Roosevelt, wasn't he speak softly and carry a big stick?
Yeah.
Wasn't that his whole MO with going across the pond and saying, hey, y'all want to play? Let's play ball.
Right. And we'll do, I mean, we don't have to be mean about it. I'm just going to do this, but I'm going to hold the stick just in case.
Well, yeah.
And he had the naval fleet behind him.
Just know I have the stick. That's all.
I'm not
that's
afraid to
really
use it.
what all it meant.
Right. I love Teddy Roosevelt.
Thanks for watching episode 2 of this 3-part podcast. Tune in next week for part 3.